the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, communities are coming together to share food, but safety should always come first. Joining me now is food safety communicator and advocate Alison Richards, and she's sharing this morning essential practices that are going to ensure that it's both helpful and safe for us to share what we're sharing and folks to receive what we're giving. Good morning.
Good morning,
Thank
Simone.
you for being here
Thank you
this
for
morning.
having me.
A very important discussion against the backdrop of what the Public Health Department has been doing, condemning some food in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. Parishes have no electricity, so all sorts of issues raised. Give me a little bit about the backdrop of this.
All right, so I think everybody has been focusing on, surviving such a catastrophic hurricane and how they can donate clothes and, there's just be some form of help to those who have been impacted. But one of the very important things that I don't want persons to forget is the food safety aspect of it. I keep telling people, imagine surviving a hurricane only to come and die from foodborne illness. So I think that is a very important conversation that needs to happen.
Foodborne illness is?
It is illness that is as a result of consuming contaminated food.
Contaminated means?
Contaminated means dirty. So food that has been exposed to possibly flood waters, that has been improperly stored, which fosters the growth of bacteria and other pathogens.
Okay. So we're talking food safety this morning, not only for us as givers to the folks who are getting,
yes,
but for the folks who are consuming what may be in the hardest hit parishes and then what may be coming to Kingston for sale.
That's true.
So is that really triangulated?
Yes, it's a real circular process. So for persons who are giving, one of the major peeves I've been seeing is people just storing food on the floor, the bare floor. Just think about, if you're giving food, would you want to get this food that you're preparing? So I know it's coming from a good place, but you want to also ensure.
What do you mean seeing the food on the floor?
So, the bulk food and the sorting, the food is just on the floor. By food safety standards, you want to probably lay a piece of cardboard, a piece of tarp, something that's clean to prevent.
Even if it's in a can?
Even if it's in a can, even if it's in plastic, because the idea is that someone who might get a canned food might not have the resources to clean it.
Correct. But you know what, Alison? Well, we not have that culture where we buy the things and then wipe off the tin before we pour it, drink the condenser. We just use our hands and handling the container, and the container may be dirty.
That's true, especially now.
And people don't necessarily have utensils, so they're using the same hands that they used to open it to take out the food.
Yes, so we want to make sure that we are paying attention to those type of things. We want to make sure we're paying attention to labels. Persons may have allergies, peanut allergies. When you're picking up something, you want to make sure that, one, what you're donating has a clear label to clearly demonstrate that, and two, if you have an allergy, that is something that you really want to be paying attention to.
Also to the expiry dates.
Expiration dates and best before date. So the best before date is really a date that guarantees that before this date, the food quality is at its best. After that date, not so much. So we're not saying that you shouldn't eat it after the best before date. Date is just that it's not guaranteed to be safe. The expiration date, on the other hand, is after this date, you don't want to be eating
Guys,
that.
please come, Alison, say that again. So there's a BBE date on the product, best before.
Yes.
If you eat it before that date or by that date,
it's best before. So as the name suggests, this is the date that the manufacturer is guaranteeing that your food is best in terms of quality.
Yes, but you can still eat it.
But you can still eat it. With caution, of
expiry
course.
mean?
Expiry mean after this date, safety cannot be guaranteed. And most you find expiry dates mostly on perishable items, baby food. You don't want to play around with the baby's medication and stuff like that.
Tin food, which is really a lot of the non-perishables that we're sending don't know.
Yeah.
So folks have to be careful. What about the folks who are preparing hot meals?
All right, so we want to make sure that we are maintaining food outside of the danger zone. The danger zone is referred to as the temperatures between 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That's around 40 to 60 degrees Celsius. Between that temperature is when the bacteria, it's a party for them. So if you're going to be preparing hot meals, you want to ensure that this is being done in a space that meets public health requirements. Where persons have a valid food handlers permit, persons are at least trained to observe the nuances of a kitchen. You want to make sure that your distribution center for these hot meals are the closest point to your preferred destination. So it's not recommended that you're all the way in Kingston, you're cooking meals, you're packaging them, and then you're traveling all the way out west to deliver.
Not recommended.
Not recommended, unless you have the means to keep it warm throughout the travel. But it's a tricky situation, Simone, because we want to make sure people are getting the food, but then you also want to make sure that the food that persons are eating serve purpose in a good way.
Do you guys have have you been able to decipher how many folks are sticking to the guidelines? Who monitors? Who's making sure that people are playing within the stipulated parameters?
Well, there are several agencies with responsibilities for food safety, and in particular, I know the public health departments. I've been seeing the news where they have been going out, they've been doing their inspections. I'm seeing the minister where he has reported that there has been an uptick in inspections, and I've seen on social media where a few public health inspectors have been, on the ground and kind of sharing what's been happening. So I'm confident that the government is doing the best it can, considering the circumstances, to try and ensure that persons are.
What about food? What about liquids?
Liquids is the same thing. You don't want to stay away from cold beverages, because you have to make sure that you have the ability to maintain temperature. So your juices, if it's not pasteurized, which means it is room temperature stable, then you want to stick to those type of juices.
Okay. Meat, Alison? If we're buying meat?
Temperature control. That's really, once the animal is slaughtered, it's a time bomb against maintaining temperature, keeping the meat cool, and of course, maintaining that temperature throughout the chain. So if you're purchasing from the supermarket, you probably don't have electricity back at home yet, you want to ensure that you have an igloo. If you don't have electricity, you might want to reconsider purchasing meat. Stick to your canned food.
Because I want to ask you, how do you know that the meat you're purchasing is from an animal that was properly slaughtered and kept in the right condition?
So there are a few tips to look for. You want to make sure that the consistency of the meat is there's no blotching, because what happens is when the meat is properly slaughtered, it's allowed to drain. So if the blood isn't drained from the animal adequately, of course you're going to see that black and blue look that you always see when you get a hit. Okay. So those are things you want to look for. If it stink, that's why we got our 5 senses. Look at it, smell it, feel if it texture is bad. Once you cut into it, that smell, you know that something is wrong. For our retailers, persons who are buying in bulk, you want to look for the public health stamp, because that is really the proof that it was inspected by the regulatory authority.
Gotcha. Good information. News that are rice flour peas unsafe?
Yes, so recently the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, through its division, the Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division, has issued a statement saying that 4 containers previously detained with rice, flour, cornmeal and kidney beans went missing. So the speculation is that these may have gotten wet during the storm. They were detained, and however, when they went back to, probably execute disposal, they were gone. So that is now, we have that on the market. That is a huge concern. And just some tips for persons out there: if your bees look dull, the red kidney beans, if they look dull, if they look moldy, if they look shriveled, you might want to stay away from it. There's also the instance that persons may be mixing these bad dry commodities with good ones to kind of make it look, to stretch it and make it look favorable. So you want to be paying attention to how things smell. If it smells moldy, if it don't look so good, if it's probably repackaged into a bag, you're see it being sold on the roadside at a ridiculously cheap price, then you have to really second guess if you want to go ahead.
How do you check rice?
Well, rice should not be moldy, and when rice gets wet, it tends to have that moldy smell. It also tends to look a bit discolored as well.
Okay.
And cakey as well.
Addison, what we are supposed to eat now then? What is safe?
I always tell persons, when in doubt, throw it out. It's money lost, but it's better to be safe and even water. You want to make sure that, there's a tip for persons with water. Bleach it, add some unscented household bleach. You have 8 drops or half teaspoon to 1 gallon, or if you want to use a full teaspoon to 5 gallons, and that's for clean and clear water. If it's cloudy, you want to double the dose. And after you've done that, you mix it, stir it, let it sit for half an hour, and it should really have a faint chlorine smell. And you need to whiff it, make sure you're smelling the chlorine, because that's how you're going to tell if it's been effective.
Guys, please be careful about the part of the bleach to the part of the water.
Yes.
Because if you do too much bleach, you're going to end up in problems. So it's, come again?
It's 8 drops or half teaspoon to 1 gallon.
Half a teaspoon to a gallon.
Or a teaspoon to 5 gallons. Yes. For clear water.
Right, cloudy
water. If it's
water.
cloudy, you want to go up by 2. So it's going to be 1 teaspoon to 1 gallon, 2 teaspoons to 5 gallon.
Gotcha.
And of course, you want to make it sit. So after you pour it in, you have to stir it up, shake it up, let it sit for half an hour, and then you can smell it to see if you're smelling a bit of chlorine.
Where do we find all of these tips that you're
Well,
giving?
I'm on social media, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram at the Food Safety Girl.
Okay. Yeah, follow right away. Very important follow right now to get the information that we need. Thank you very much for
Thank you,
sharing this.
Simone.
Very, very important. Food safety communicator and advocate, Alison Richards. After the break, we're looking at the nominations for the 2026 Reggae Grammy Award. We've got that after this.